she arose and ministered unto them. When the even was come, they brought unto him many that were possessed with devils, and cast out the spirits with his word, and healed all that were sick, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Esaias the prophet, saying, himself took our infirmities and bare our sicknesses. Amen. John 5. Now there is, well, we'll go to 1 first. After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches. And these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water. For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool and troubled the water. Whosoever then first after the touching of the water stepped in was made whole of whatever disease he had. And a certain man which was there, which had an infirmity 38 years. When Jesus saw him lie and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he said unto him, Wilt thou be made whole? The impotent man answered him, said, Sir, I have no man when the water is troubled, to put me into the pool. But while I am coming, another steppeth down before me. Jesus said unto him, Rise, take up thy bed, and walk. And immediately the man was made whole, and took up his bed, and walked. And on the same day was the Sabbath. Amen. That's the reading of the word. We like to touch on the subject today of being in the right place at the right time. In the right place at the right time. Here in both of these books, we have people who were in trouble. People that encountered Jesus were in a desperate need of healing. Some sought Jesus out, and others just happened to be in the way of where Jesus was going. There are times when you must be in the right position to be able to get the healing that you need. You need to be in the right place to be able to be healed from the sickness, diseases, or infirmities that might plague you at that time. Life will beat you down from time to time and have you go around thinking that, how am I going to make it through? Because of all the things that come up. We sometimes go through small Job experiences. When things start to come back to back, and we're trying to figure out how we're going to get through this stuff when nothing but bad stuff seems to be coming our way. We have a lot of different health issues that are coming. We wake up one day, we have high blood pressure. The next day, later on down the road, we find out we have diabetes. Some of us have heart problems and bursitis, fibromyalgia. They have the arthritis. They got all kinds of things going on. As soon as you think you got one thing handled, something else pops up, and you find yourself having to go to the doctor to get another pill. And sooner or later, you find out that you have a cabinet full of medication. And you're trying to figure out whether or not these things are really working to help out with these ailments that you have. Many of these things are going on because sometimes one ailment helps to bring on something else. And so you have to be very careful, and the pharmacists have to be careful about what kind of medicines that they give you, because they want to make sure that they don't interact with one another and cause you problems. So these things are working on you, and you're trying to figure out how you want to get all these things fixed. Soon you get sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick. And there's no other place for you to go to but Jesus. You must then go to him with your problem and ask him to help you fix the problem. Because there's just some things that you cannot do by yourself. There's some things that the doctor cannot do. There's some things the doctor cannot fix. He, a lot of times, has to ask God for help and direction on how to help you. You have to go to the master doctor, the one who made you, because he knows how to fix whatever the problem is. I watched some time ago on television, and they were talking about how a man was doing some healing services, and the man happened to have, because he was in the war, he had steel embedded in his leg. It was part of a bone. You know, they replaced it as a bone in his leg, and he was having problems walking. But since he came up and asked for God's healing at this healing service, while the preacher was praying over him and prophesying over him, a liquid started to come out of his leg and was down on the ground. And they were trying to figure out what it was, and they said it was foul smelling and everything. And then after he got finished praying, the man was able to walk better than what he was. And while he was there, he happened to have a nurse that was there with him, because she was going around with him, making sure everything was always going to be all right. I guess he had something else going on with him, but she knew about the steel in the leg. But they looked down, and this was gray in color on the floor. Then they took him to the doctor, and the doctor looked on the x-ray and found out the metal was no longer there. That metal that was inside, the Lord had melted it out of his body down on the ground. God can do all things.
Yes, he can.
He can replace something that man thinks that they're going to put in place of it. But he melted the steel and put bone back in the man's body. We just thank God that he can do things that nobody else can do. You have to be like that man who met Jesus on the road. He came up to Jesus and worshiped him and said, Lord, if thou wilt, can you make me clean? Now, he knew that most people, when they saw him, would run away from him because he was a leper. And in those days, most people made sure they stayed far away from you because they did not want to get what you had. He knew that if people saw him, they would run the other way. They would not go and come anywhere near him. They used to have little cans where they used to lower food down to the lepers because they wouldn't be nowhere about them. They put the food on there, lower it down to them, and y'all stay where you are, we all stay where you are. Have you ever been in a situation where people just don't think anything about you, don't care about you, and have nothing to do with you? But God still loves us. No matter who we are, where we come from, what's going on, God still loves us. He doesn't care what kind of circumstances that you're in. It's good to know that he does not care about what's on the inside, outside, but only what's on the inside.
Yes.
He looks on the inside. When people see you all messed up on the outside, God doesn't care. He looks to see your heart.
Yes, he does.
Look to see where your heart is, because where your heart is, there your treasure is also.
That's right.
So he looked at this man and said, yes, I want you to be made clean. He touched him and made him clean. He first did something, though, to get Jesus' attention. He went up and worshiped him first. Amen. A lot of us skip that step and go right into asking God for stuff. But we don't go and thank God for all the good things he's done for us already. We don't say, thank you, Lord. I know I'm in a bad way, but thank you for where I am. Thank you for waking me up anyway.
That's right.
We don't worship God like we should. So he went and worshiped him first before he asked for help.
Amen.
And it's just a thought that if we would go do that, we might get some answers to some things that we want a little quicker.
Yeah.
If we would take time to worship before we start asking. God is just like us sometimes. Sometimes we might get tired of hearing our children ask us for stuff.
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
That's right.
Every time we turn around, can you let me this? Do you have this? Can I get this?
Right.
Even though you love them, you might get tired of hearing that sometimes. They don't. Sometimes some of them forget to say thank you. Mm-hmm. You know, and then some of us forget to thank the Lord after He's given us some stuff. Not everybody, but some folk forget to say thank you.
That's right.
To God after He's done stuff for them.
That's right.
So we got to remember that yes, He will supply every need, but we need to go and thank Him and worship Him first.
Yes, right.
Then ask Him for whatever it is that we want. He already knows what you want.
Right.
He already knows what you need, but we need to go and give Him reverence first anyway.
That's right.
Okay? So you might get those things a little quicker if you go and worship Him first.
You just might.
You might think it necessary, but here in the Bible it talks many times about people who worship God first, worship Jesus before they ask for anything. Amen. So we just might want to take those examples. That's right. You know, because a lot of times people rush over those little details in the Bible. They read it so fast, they forget about they worshiped and then they ask.
Right.
They just go right into the asking part.
Right.
Okay? So God takes notice when you worship Him. Mm-hmm. You get His eye, you get His ear, you get His attention.
Yes, you do.
When you go and worship. That's why a lot of folks, before they did anything, they were building an altar and sacrifice and do things because they wanted God's attention. They wanted Him to be in the midst of them. Mm-hmm. So Jesus touched the man saying, I will. Be thou clean. And immediately, the Bible says, his leprosy was gone. That's a good thing, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
That we can go and ask for things. The Bible says ask anything in the name of Jesus, and He will get. But go stop and thank Him first.
That's right.
Thank Him first. Now I said that while Jesus was entering into Capernaum, a centurion came up to him, asking him if he could heal his servant. He said he's at home sick with the palsy and is grievously tormented from all the things that he's going through. And Jesus said, well, I will come and heal him. He said, no, Lord, don't even come to my house, because I'm not even worthy for you to be there. Now, see, a lot of us wouldn't even tell the Lord our house is not worthy. See? But just come on anyhow. Mm-hmm. You know, but he let him know. He said, look, I'm not even worthy to be in your presence, but I'm here because I need help for my servant. Yeah. And I need you to come, and I need you to help him where he is. You don't even have to come to the house. Just speak the word. Amen. And from your word, I do believe that he will be healed. Yeah. And so this man gave us an example of intercessory prayer and somebody standing in the gap for somebody else. That's right. Many times we have had people who have stood in the gap for us. Yeah. We didn't know that they were praying for us, but they prayed for us anyhow. We might not even been in the house, but you've heard the whole thing. My mother prayed for me. Had me on her mind just the time to pray for me. You know, a lot of times mother's prayers are very powerful because they pray with their heart, because they know only God can fix that problem. So they go to God with a humble heart and pleading heart, asking the Lord to help their child. Yes, they do. The Lord answers their prayers because they go and stand in the gap for their child. He's not the first one that talks about how Job all the time would pray and sacrifice for his children, even though his children weren't doing right. Even though they didn't go and pray like they ought to, Job was in the gap for his children. Yes. He made sure that they had provisions because he did what he needed to do. He did not only pray for himself, but he prayed for his children as well. Sacrificed for his children to make sure they had what they needed to have. Yes. You need somebody to stand in the gap.
Yes, you do.
Now, all the preachers can't do it. You got to have some good mothers do it. Some good fathers do it. Some aunties and grandmothers. Oh, yeah. They will stand in the gap for you. People who know what's going on. So he was an example of someone who was in the gap for his servant who was sick and needed help. Yeah. needed healing because he knew he couldn't do it. The doctors weren't able to do anything. So he went to Jesus asking for help. Jesus was ready to go to the man's house. He said, no, don't come to my house. My house is not even worthy for you to be under the roof, but just speak the word. Isn't that good?
That's good.
That we only have to go and just speak the word. We have to be careful because they said words are powerful.
Yes.
They said life and death is in the tongue.
Yes, it is.
And so we got to be careful what comes out of our mouth when we're talking to people and about folks.
Yeah.
We have to be careful because you have power to whatever those things are. If you have some bad thoughts, keep them inside your mouth. If you have any negative things that you were thinking even about yourself, don't even say it because when you say it, you give that thing power over you.
Yes.
So if you want to speak some stuff, speak love and peace over yourself. Say, Lord, I live for you. Lord, I love you. Lord, I want life. I want to live.
Yes.
God will give that power to that word.
Yes.
Get the word. Give the right word. Don't go and let bad things go out of you. Only let good stuff come out.
Well,
Jesus said, go thy way. And as he went, he said, go thy way, and as thou believest, so be it unto thee. Amen. The servant, the Bible says, was healed the same hour. Now after that, Jesus kept on going and went down to Peter's house.
well,
While he's at Peter's house, he walked into the door. Peter's mother-in-law is sick. She's there with the fever. He just walks over and touched her on the hand. He didn't even have to say anything, just touched her. She got up and started ministering to them. Now, while they were there, some folk saw that Jesus had gone into Peter's house. They had already experienced some stuff on the outside.
well,
But see, they saw him go inside Peter's house. And since they saw him going there, the Bible says when evening came, people started showing up. They just come out the woodwork. Now, see, you know how it is. When people find out there's something good going on, they want to get to it as well. So I'm sure the news went through the neighborhood and around that Jesus was in town, the one who healed this person, that person, and helped this person. He's at Peter's house. We better go get him while he's there. Go to Peter's house. Find Jesus. Now, when you get there, just don't go, but take somebody with you. Somebody you know who's sick. Somebody you know is full of disease. Somebody who's full of the devil. Take them with you. Because if nobody else can fix the problem or heal the problem, Jesus can.
yes, he did.
Yes.
So they went there. The Bible says that when evening come, everybody started showing up. It said people were bringing people there that were sick and full of the devil.
Yeah.
Isn't that something? There's a lot of folk here in this country that are full of the devil.
Whoa.
They need to be brought to the church quick, fast, and in a hurry. Isn't that right?
That's right.
There's some folk who have gone so far left, they don't know where they are.
Right.
They are gone. And a lot of it is because they are full of the devil.
Amen.
And don't know it. People try to put it off on mental illness. Yes, there's some mental illness. The devil's in them. You know, a long time ago when we used that and go crazy, our parents might say, well, we're going to beat the devil out of you.
Yeah, they did.
To make sure he don't reside. He's not going to be comfortable on the inside when I get finished. Isn't that right? Anybody hear that from time to time?
Yeah.
I'm going to beat the devil out of you. So that he's not going to feel comfortable in that. He's not even going to come back to get inside you when I get finished with your body. He wants to get the devil out of you. So the Bible said they brought them there, they were full of the devil, and just through God's word, through Jesus' word, the Bible said they got out.
Yeah.
They were in the right place at the right time. People brought them to the place so that they could get healed. They went there and got healed. Now jumping over to John, it says that Jesus was going and coming through Jerusalem, came through the place, the sheep's market. where they said there was a pool there called Bethesda. And at the pool, they said they had many people there that were impotent, halt, blind, or whatever. They had all kinds of ailments. And the porch had, and the pool had 5 porches in which people can try to get in from the porch and get in to the pool, because the Bible says the angel would come down once a year, trouble the water, and whoever got in there first got healed. So those people were already in position to be in the right place at the right time, but only one could get healed. That's something, isn't it? Yeah. That only you have one opportunity to get in there when the angel came. See, it's not like Jesus. See, Jesus, when he showed up, everybody to get healed. Right. It wasn't nobody, this is just your turn today. It's everybody's turn if you showed up. Right. But at the pool, they said only one could get healed when the angel came down. And the Bible says that Jesus came and walked through the place and saw the man lying there and knew he had been there for a long time. The man's condition had been like this for 38 years. And Jesus saw him and knew he had been there a long time and asked him, would you be made whole? Now, instead of the man saying, yes, I want to be made whole, he went through a long explanation of why he was not made whole by getting in the pool. He went and said all this stuff. Well, sir, I have nobody to help me when the pool is troubled. Every time the pool is troubled, I try to get up, try to make my way to the pool. Somebody gets in there before me, it's all over with. I can't get to the pool. There, after being by the pool for all these years, I would think, this is my just opinion, that I would have rolled and been right there by the edge of the pool. So as soon as the water started moving, all I had to do was stick in my toe. But no, he's waiting. Yeah, roll yourself in there, anything, to get into that pool. But no, he's waiting for somebody to help you. Now, the Lord wants you sometimes to help yourself. You know, he wants you to see what kind of effort you're going to do before he goes and puts his hand in something. Yeah, that's right. You know, he wants you to work. He said, work while it's still day, because when night comes, no man can work. He wants you to do some work too. This man didn't try to do any work to make sure that he was ready to be in position to get the healing. He was there, but he was not there. And then there's something, you've heard of that, people being someplace but not really being there. Their mind is somewhere else. So I'm just figuring that when things were going on, I'm figuring this happened around the same time every year, because it said yearly. The angel came down and troubled the water. He should have had an idea of what time, what month, what day he might have been coming to trouble the water. He should have made some kind of effort to make sure he was there, to make sure he got into the pool.
Oh, yeah.
And not have to wait for nobody to put him in.
Yes.
But it just so happened, on this particular day, Jesus came by. Asked him would he like to be made whole. He tried to give him the reason he wanted to get whole but couldn't get there. So Jesus didn't even go through all the mess of what he said. He just said, pick up your bed and walk. I don't even want to hear all this stuff about you. Nobody put you in there and you've been here for all these years. Just pick it up and go walking. And he started walking, and they said it was on the Sabbath day. And being on the Sabbath day, there were some folk that were upset that he was walking with his bed on the Sabbath day. And so they asked him, why are you walking around with your bed, being that it's on the Sabbath day? He said, well, the man who healed me told me to rise, pick up my bed, and start walking. Well, they said, well, who is this man? He said, I don't know who he was. All I know is that he told me to pick up the bed. I got healed. I picked up the bed and started walking. Why are you worried about why he's carrying his bed? Why aren't you saying, well, weren't you messed up up at the pool all this time, and now you're up. How do you get a chance? How do you get up to walk and now carry what you've been laying on for all these years?
Right, exactly.
See, you only got somebody that don't want to do right. Don't want to act right. They want to go and criticize what good you got going on. They don't want you to celebrate the good stuff. They want to talk about what happened before.
Right.
You were messed up. You were jacked up. Now you walking around. How you get to be like that?
Right.
Like it's their business. They didn't bother to go and try to help to put the man in the pool.
Right.
Exactly.
But they going to worry about him carrying a bed on the Sabbath day.
Now that he's up.
Because he's up and walking there.
Hey.
They said, well, you know, this is not even the time for the pool to be troubled.
Right.
But yet he's walking around on the Sabbath day. They were upset. He finally let them know after Jesus saw him in the temple, Jesus told him, look, now that you've been healed, make sure you don't go and sin no more. Right. Then he went and told the folk, well, I found out it was Jesus. Then they got upset about that. Yeah. When they going to tell Jesus he shouldn't be doing that. He's the Lord of the Sabbath. He do whatever he wants on the Sabbath day. Right. He made the Sabbath. If it wasn't no Sabbath, they wouldn't even know nothing about it. Right. So Jesus made sure that that man, even though he didn't know it, was in the right place at the right time. He got the healing that he needed. Now, for us to be in the right place and at the right time, we need to go to the healing station.
Yeah.
The healing station is the church.
Yes, it is.
We need to go there. The Bible talks about there is a balm in Gilead to heal the sin-sick soul. We got to go to the healing station, and God will meet us there. Amen. God said, take my yoke upon you, for it is easy, and learn of me. For my burden is light. Leave all your burdens and things there with the Lord. Let him handle what's going on. Amen. You got to let things go. You can't go and try to carry everything yourself. Right. You can't be going carrying all these troubles and burdens and sicknesses and all that stuff, worried about the stuff. You cannot, it will worry you to death. I have a friend that's on Facebook, and she was talking about how things are going because she's worried about so much other stuff. She's getting these markers again from the cancer. She has some stuff, but I guess it has multiplied or something like that. So the message I sent to her, I said, look, first of all, you need to be happy. Get some laughter in your life, because laughter helps to cure a lot of stuff.
It really does.
Think on the goodness of the Lord and not all the stuff you got going on around you. Right. Put those things in God's hand. Let God take care of it. And those other things will disappear that were there, that weren't there before. You got to have some joy in your life. Amen. That's right. There was a lady before that's in my company. Her and her daughter had cancer at the same time. The daughter died. The mother was still here. And then people said, well, why are you still here? She said, well, I guess it's because of all the joy and happiness I have. And people I have that are positive, that are around me, help me to stay here. I'm doing better. She left. She didn't have the same kind of support system that I had. Right. Right. That lets you know that if you got some joy in your heart, some peace, and not worry about what's supposed to be there, God can take it away from you. Let the Lord fight that battle, not you. So these people, you got to let go of those burdens. Now, I believe that there are a few things that we are going to need when we come to church or if you stay at home. First, we must seek God. Amen. Look to be in his presence and ask for the glory of God to be around you. See, once you have that, you are in the right kind of atmosphere, what you need to be able to communicate with God. Second, we need to worship God. Thank him for all the good things that he's done. Bless him and say, Lord, you are great and greatly to be praised. You got to come up with some stuff. You got to go through the history of all the good things God has done for you. How he brought you through danger seen and unseen. You got to go to God and thank him for all the good stuff.
Yes.
Because then you now have his attention because you're thanking him and praising him at the same time.
That's right.
See, you got to get into the right kind of frame of mind and worship to bring God to help you out of your situation.
Yes.
And then after you've gotten there, then the third thing is that you must trust him while you're praying to believe he's going to deliver you
Yes,
from out of whatever it is that you're in.
That's right. That's right.
Amen.
We got to put those things into practice. I know we don't do it enough. We hear about it, but we don't do it. And I've heard within the last month so many people who said that once they start to worship God, worship him, thanking him and praising him and telling him what he's done. One guy said he got in his room, turned on the music, was thanking God and praising him. He thought it was 5 minutes. It ended up to be 5 hours. He did not know that he had gone into the glory realm with God all that time because he was worshiping with him. And then God let him know the things that would normally take you a long time is going to be a short time with me. So if we want things to be quickened, if we want things to come, have a shorter span of when we want some things done, we need to start worshiping God. No matter what we're doing, take time out to worship God to get the results that you want. You can't get it if you're not worshiping and thanking God for what he's done. Like I said, I'm guilty too. A lot of times I just rush on in to thanking, asking God what I need and what I want, and forget about the worship.
Yes.
But I'm going to start instituting that and put that into my daily thing of worshiping God first. Trying to make sure I seek his glory before I start to go ask for anything. Because I found out and I've seen so far that those folk who do that get results quickly and things resolve a lot faster when you worship God first.
Yes.
So I'm asking that all of us will go and try that. Go and practice worshiping God first and asking God second for the help. Jesus will make a way for you out of nowhere. God has to do what he has to do. God will put his hand into things for you when you go to him and say, I can't do no more. When your back is against the wall, Jesus will make some space for you. All those folk who were having problems, he helped open the door and healed their bodies. They were able to go and show folk and tell folk, hey, God healed me. God is still healing people today. And I believe that if we do like we're supposed to do and follow this example, this can be a great healing station right here. That people, we don't have to do a lot, but because we're going to help people, people hear about it, they will start to bring other people to the Lord's house for the healing. And see, once you get them into the glory realm and get them into the right place, they will come to the Lord all by themselves. You ain't got to do nothing. Because you have shown them that God is real. Jesus is real. John P. Key said, Jesus is real. Oh, yes, he's real to me. He done some things for me that he didn't do for somebody else. He did it only for me. God specializes in helping you individually. Whatever you need, he will do it for you. Go to the Lord. Ask him what you need. And he will give it to you according to his will. We must go to the Lord and ask him for help. We must make sure we're in position to be in the right place at the right time, because we have helped to put ourselves in that atmosphere that we need to be in. Now, I just want everybody just to look at somebody. Tell them you're in the right place at the right time. Let's try everybody there. Only a few people. Well, I'm in the right place at the right time to get a healing from the Lord. Now tell yourself, I'm in the right place at the right time to get a healing from the Lord. God bless you. Amen. Amen.